There is this notion that once you cross your 30s, your body is doomed and you'll never regain how you felt in your early 20s. Well, I'm here to say that this is complete and utter bullshit. Why? Well, in this video, I'm gonna explain the 6 steps I took from being injured, feeling stiffer than stone, and being in the worst shape of my life at 23 to move without pain, feeling buttery, and being in the best shape of my life at 32. And I can guarantee that if you implement these principles, you will get out of pain and restrictions, and you will also be in the best shape of your life, no matter the age. So let's dive in. Principle 1, strengthening over stretching. So just like many, I started my journey thinking I could stretch my way out of my restrictions. I did a lot of bench pressing back then, but I developed a nagging shoulder injury because of it. So every time I felt a sensation coming up and I thought, let me just give it a nice little stretch, that will fix it. Wrong. This approach led to endless cycles of disappointments because stretching is just a cover-up. It gives you a moment of relief, but the root cause doesn't get addressed. But when I shifted towards a mobility training back in 2019, my body started to improve drastically. Instead of focusing on basic quick stretches, I started to add load in my stretches and the end range of my motion, and it was like I was doing strength training but in a completely different way. And this is because the strength first approach at end range allowed me to develop control over my full range of motion. This is also known as your active range of motion, quote, mobility. This differs from the stretching first approach where you try to increase your total range of motion, also known as your passive range of motion or flexibility. And this is often something you can't control. And I learned that working on the ladder of flexibility often led to more sustainable disappointments instead of sustainable results, which works when you go to principle number 2, getting clarity. So I've been practicing and studying movement and mobility training for over 5 years now. And I've helped a dozen of clients in my one-on-one coaching program over the last year. And if there's one thing I've learned that keeps people from physically developing themselves, is this state of confusion. Being in a state of confusion is the death of action. Not knowing where your body stands keeps people running around in circles. And in my 12 years of being in the fitness industry, I can't tell you how much time and energy I wasted not knowing what the cause of my pain was, what the most dominant restrictions were, and especially where to start. Knowing where you and your body stand is 50% of the result, because by getting clarity you gain focus, and when you get focus you go into action mode, and action mode is the primary factor we need to get more results in less time. This brings me to principle number 3. Progressive overload is king. So a lot of people don't have a system that continuously challenges them in the right way. So before I started my movement and mobility practice, I frequently fell off the wagon, and one of the reasons was that I didn't inject the right challenge once my body adapted. So every 6 to 8 weeks the body adapts to the stimulus that it got from the start. So this process of adding a new stimulus with the right dosage and the right time is called progressive overload. And this is the king of all training principles. If you don't give the body a new reason to adapt, it will stagnate, and often stagnation will lead to unmet goals. Overloading, however, leads to fulfilled goals. So if getting clarity in principle 2 gets you going, having a progressive system will keep you going. And that's why it will make principle number 4 critical for long-term process. Consistency over intensity. So the art of long-term success is the art of consistency, doing the same thing for a longer period of time, not how intense you can do something for a brief moment in time. And the secret to consistency is your ability to reduce. People believe that in order to get physical results, they have to do more. When I started practicing movement and mobility, all I wanted was to acquire more movement skills, have more mobility projects going on, reducing more aches and pains, wanted to unlock more range of motion, less pain, etc., etc. But the doing more attitude leads to doing less. More on your plate makes the challenge harder. Less on your plate makes the challenge easier. And long-term change comes from challenges we can face for a longer period of time, not that we can handle in a short bout. Like James Clear says, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. This brings me to principle number 5, generalist over specialists. So as humans, humans are not the fastest, the tallest, or the strongest, but we are the most versatile, which is a gift and a curse. We're immensely capable of moving in different ways, but if we don't use what we have, our ranges of motion, our ability to balance, using the elastic properties of the body to be explosive, we lose it. When I look at how I was moving at 23 versus now at 32, the biggest contributor to how I operate today is implementing this idea. It's because I've exposed my body to a wide variety of movements, from mobility training to gymnastic strength training to exploring low gait positions, balancing on different level of heights, and improving my footwork with athletic games. This variety of movement led me to a body that now feels unrestricted, pain-free, and resilient. All because I prioritize being a movement generalist first and a specialist second. And this makes principle number 6 the hidden answer for getting a long-lasting versatile body. Incorporate play. Being at the peak of your physicality stems from 3 elements. We discussed consistency, progressive overload, and variety. But there's one element missing, and that element is play. Play is when you start to use your brain's capacity to think and the body harmoniously in order to execute certain movement patterns. And the funny thing is, we all did this when we were kids. We used our bodies to guide our exploratory eyes and navigate the wonders of the world around us. But slowly over time, we lost this capacity to physically play and therefore actively use the body and brain simultaneously to solve certain challenges in front of you. Like when you do in training sessions for a sport, or when you did in certain gym classes at high school, or when you do a fun game like playing Twister. So when I started to play again, I started to reconnect with my physical curiosity, which amplified every part of my physicality. Play is an older than life mechanism and an essential nutrient in how we move. So incorporate more physical play in your life and your body will make a 360 shift in how it operates. Okay, so what are the next steps? So now you know the principles that I took in order for me to completely shift my physicality. No more pain, no more restrictions, more freedom when I move. You can use these principles as a manual to follow for you to do the same. It doesn't matter how old you are, how limited you feel currently, or how much pain you have. If you focus on these principles, you get a body that is beyond your wildest dreams. If you want to accelerate this process, I can help. You can send me a DM on Instagram for my core reset program, in which I help fitness enthusiasts, hybrid athletes, but also high performers move pain-free without limitations holding them back in 4 to 5 months. Additionally, in the description below, I've got a 14-day reset challenge that you can start implementing to take your first steps in reducing your aches and pains and get an unrestricted and pain-free body. If you want more videos like this, make sure to give me a follow and smash that thumbs up button. And for now, stay movie, stay groovy. Thanks for watching. See you to the next one.